So things we did in class today. If you look at the handout that I posted, for those of you who are absent, there are quite a few two ways you can actually find the slope here. Well, if you look at question number one, let me identify the points. So A's, that's A, and let me call this point B. Point A is -1 and 1, -1 and -1. Point B is 2 and -2. Now remember, to find the slope, we use this, right? To change the difference between the two y values and the difference between the two x values, right? So it doesn't matter who you assign y2 or call the 1s and who you call the 2s. So just because these came first, I'm going to call this x1, y1. This is going to be my x2, y2, right? So once I assign this, I can go now and just literally just substitution. It's -2, so y2 is -2 minus y1, which is -1. I'll put that in parentheses. Over x2, which is 2, minus -1. And even before I do the calculations, I know my answer has to be negative because it's a slope that goes down, right? The line goes down from left to right, so the slope is going to be negative. So -2 minus -1 is -2 plus 1, which gives me -1. And 2 minus -1 is the same thing as 2 plus 1. So my slope is 1/3. So, and that's one way of doing it. The other way you're doing it, you can check what the difference in y, right? So if you think about this is the rise, right? That little line here, and this is the run. So that rise here, how long is that rise? It's 1 unit. And how long is that run from here to here? Is 3 units. 1, 2, 3. So again, if you think about it, it's rise over run. So my rise, the change, okay, that distance is 1, and the run left to right, the distance is 3, but negative because the slope goes down. So these other ones, let me do this that way. So if I identify, so again here, if I call this the rise, right? Think about the height maybe, and this the distance. So this distance on the y-axis and distance on the x-axis. So I'll call that run. So for this one over here, and again, the slope is the change in y values, and change in y values looks like that's 3 over, and the change in x values looks like that's 1, and it's positive. I'm going to simplify. So my slope for that particular one is 3. This one, my slope is going to be negative. I know that already because it's going down. Again, I like when they extend that line, right? Because it should be extended all the way down. And again, so what's the height of this, right? So what's the change in y value? So if you think about the y value for this coordinate here is -3, right? And the y value here is 0. So what's the difference between those two values? Right, the change in y is 3 units. And what about the x value? So if you think about the x value here, it goes from here to here, or this right here, right? If you count it, it's 2 units. But because the slope is negative, we put a negative sign. And there's my slope, m equals -3 over 2. And likewise, I mean, it's going to be repetitive here. And again, the slope is positive in this case because it's going up. So what's the y, the change in y value would be 1, 2, 3 units. What's the change in x values? Going left and right, it would be 2 units. So 3 over 2. I think when I attached this file, it came with answer, so you guys can just look at the answer. So these ones, I have to do it using this. So for 9 through 16, I have to use y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, right? Because I don't have the luxury of looking at a coordinate plane with the line and the 2 points. So let's just pick a random one. Let's pick 11. So 11, let's first assign. So let's call this x1, comma y1. This one's going to be my x2, comma y2. And let's now use that. Difference in y value, so it's going to be y2 minus y1, which gives me -10 minus -4. The difference in x value, so we have x2, which is -12, minus x1, which is negative 20. Just for us to have an idea, where is negative 20 and negative 20 and 4? Negative 20 and 4 is all the way to the left and 4 down. So let's just go like that. All right, so that's 1. Let's call that A. B is negative 10, negative 12. Negative 12 go a little bit about here, and negative 10, somewhere around there. So that's where B, this point would be. Now, if you connect the dots, right, it's a line that goes down from left to right, so that one's a negative slope. So I know right away that this answer is going to be negative. So negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Negative 12 plus 20 is 8. We can simplify that to simply 3 over 4. So the slope of this line, if you were to graph that, right, would be negative 3/4. Let's pick another one. Let's pick, and again, I'm not going to do all of them. Let's pick 12 because this 12 is right next to me. So x1, y1, x2, y2, and again, m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So y2 is negative 8 minus y1, which is negative 5, and I'll put that in parentheses, over x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is negative 12. So I end up getting negative 8 minus negative 5 is the same thing as plus 5, so I get negative 3 on top. And negative 0 minus negative 12 is just positive 12. And if I simplify that, I get negative 1/4. Okay, so let's imagine that for a second. Negative 12 and negative 5 should be somewhere, I don't know, somewhere over here. Okay. 0 and negative 8 is definitely over here. So again, it matches, right? It's a line that's going to go down, and it's a negative slope. Okay. I'll do a couple more. Let's do 15. So 15, again, just to be different, let's call this x2, y2. And let's call this second point x1, y1. It doesn't really matter. So m equals, so y2, which in this case is negative 20, minus y1, which in this case is negative 15, over x2, which in this case is negative 18, minus negative 18. Sorry. Okay, so negative 20 plus 15 is negative 5, and negative 18 plus 18 is 0. Ooh. So this one, the slope is undefined. If you think about it, let me draw that out. First point, negative 18 and negative 20. So negative 18 all the way to the left, negative 18 and negative 20 all the way down. So let's call that negative 18, negative 20. Second point, negative 18 all the way to the left again, same number of spaces to the left, and then negative 15. So you're going to go down over here. So that's negative 18, negative 15. Now, if we connect that line, and let's see if I can do a better job this time. Look, right? If we connect those 2 points, that looks like a straight line. On a straight line, the slope is undefined. Oops. Here we go. So let's do 16, last one, and then no, go. x1, y1, x2, y2. So m equals y2, which is 12, minus y1, which is negative 18, over x2, which is 11, minus x1, which is 12. And we get 12 plus 18, which is 30, over 11 minus 12, which is negative 1. And my slope is just negative 30. You can leave it as negative 1. I don't care. It's fine. But we usually leave it like that. So the slope of it is negative 30. Wow. Very let's see, x2, 11 minus 12. Yeah, that looks right. So let me graph this. Phew, it's going to be a very steep line. 12 and negative 18, so 12 to the right, 18 down. So let's just 12 to the right and 18 down. Let's over here. Let's call that 12, negative 18. And the other one is 11 and 12. So Just over here, a little bit left, and then 12 up. Wow, very, very, very steep. And this is a negative slope because it's going to look like that. And then let me connect the dots. Where's my connect dots here? Talk about steep. Right. So if you think about a mountain here, right, it's a very, very steep line, and it's negative. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I am going to continue here. 721, you can stop right here. 722, we had a few of these to do, so I am going to continue for 722. 721, you can stop 722. I'm going to do this when I see you. 721, I do these problems 17 to 26. When I see you Thursday, 722, this was your check for your understanding. Let me just take this sheet out. 722 slope, and no, that's not it. There we go. So your task was to take these problems, right, and graph them. So I need the other sheet. No, not that one. I need this sheet. Okay, need empty graphs, right? So whatever left over you have, and if you can print out one or two, you probably might need one or two extra. So we did a few, so let's, well, you know what? I guess I'll have to do the first one. No, I did the first two. So I'm going to skip 17 and 18. I'm going to do 19. So here at 19, if you look at the sheet, it's y equals negative 1 over 5x minus 4. Well, remember, slope-intercept form, mx plus b, where m is a slope, so that's my slope, and b is my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is negative 4, so if I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my line is going to cross, the line that we're about to graph is going to cross that point on the y-axis at negative 4. So, and if you look at your slope, it's a negative slope because that says negative 1/5. So whatever it looks like, it's going to cross. Whether it looks like this, or looks like this, oops, or looks like this, right? It's going to go through negative 4 on the y-axis. So let's just graph it properly. Remember, we need 2 points to create a line. I already have one. And let's use the slope. So the slope is negative 1 over 5. And if you want to write rise over 1, you can. So to get my next point, it's going to be 1 up, right? This is going to be my up and down direction. And it's going to be my left and right direction. So it's going to be 1 up. And in this case, because the slope is negative, we have to measure. We have to get a line that goes like that, right? Down. So let's go 1 up. And if we go up, we have to go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we go down, 1 down, we have to go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because the other choice is, and if we go, again, the rise, if we go 1 up and we decide to go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guess what? When we connect the dots, this line is a positive slope. And we don't want that. We want a line that's a negative slope. So, because it's negative, okay, you know that that point has to be there. Not, okay. And if you go on the left side, if you get one more point, you go 1 up and you go 5 to the left. Now you're ready to connect this. Oops. Okay, now you're ready to connect this. And I don't know why it's like that. Hopefully it goes back to normal. And it, okay, so right there. Put an arrow, and on top of the line, we're going to write y equals negative 1 over 5x minus 4, because that's the line to describe that equation. Okay. 20. Okay, so 20 is an interesting one. So 20 says x equals 1. So think about this y equals mx plus b. Right, and in this case, the only thing we have is x equals 1. So let's find x equals 1. X equals 1. So you go to the x-axis and find 1. There's this 1. So the line x equals 1 is this line right here. You agree? Erase that. Every single point, any point you choose on this line. Let me change colors here. Any point you'd pick on this line. Any point. The first number, the x value, the x coordinate is going to be x. The y coordinate is going to change, right? Because it goes up and down, right? That's going to change. Right? The y coordinate is going to change depending on where you put your dot. But the x coordinate for any point on this line is 1. So that's why this is x equals 1. Let's do another one. Let's do 20. Well, you know what? Let's do 21 here. Might as well. 1 over 4x plus 1. Do I have a y-intercept? The y-intercept is positive 1, so I know that line is going to cross the y-axis at 1. It's a positive slope, so I know it looks like that. And my slope is 1 over 4. So that gives me a hint as how I can get my next point. So this is rise and run. So to get to our next point, we can use this information. It tells us to go up 1 or down 1, and then either left or right, because that's my run. So this is the movement left and right, and this is the movement up and down. You just gotta make sure you know which way to go. So if we go up 1, well, we're gonna have to go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because when I connect these two, right, it's gonna look like this. If you decided to go up 1 and then left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, guess what? When you connect those dots, you got a slope that goes down. So that would be negative, which is not what we want because the slope is positive right here. According to the problem, it's positive 1/4. So we're going to go up. I'm going to go 4 to the right. Up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's 1 point. If you need 1 point, let's go the other direction. And in the other direction, we're going to go down. And then if we go down, we're going to do the opposite, which is to go left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, that's enough. 3 points is more than enough. I don't know why this keeps doing that. So I'm going to draw a line. There you go. That's my line. And please label it 1, 4x plus 1. 22. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1. Again, there's my y-intercept. This slope is going to cross the y-axis at 1, positive 1. My slope is negative 2/3. So up and down, it's going to be 2. Left and right, it's going to be 3, right? You just got to be really careful which way direction. So I know it goes down. My slope goes down. So whatever point I'm about to locate has to be here. Not up here, down here, because when I connect it, it has to go down. So rise over run is 2 and 3, so it means up and down. So let's go down. If I go down, it's going to be 2 down and then 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. It has to be to the right. Okay. Now on the other side, likewise, if we go up, it has to be 3 to the left. That makes sense, right? Now I connect these 3 dots, and please, you guys use a ruler. Right? It's negative, and this is my equation. The representation of the equation, negative 2x over 3, negative 2/3 x over 3 plus 1. All right. 23. All right. You know what? I might as well just do everything. 23 is negative x plus what? 2. Don't forget, and I'm just going to rewrite this as this. It's the same thing, right? I put a 1 there. The y-intercept is positive 2, so there we go. So the slope is negative 1 over 1, so it's a negative slope, so we have a line that's coming down from left to right. Rise, run. So let's do that. So to get to my next spot. Let's go down. If I go down, do I go right or left? I'm gonna go right. I have to go right, right? Because it makes this unit. Because if I go left and connect the dots, it's gonna go point up. So I have to go down. So again, down and right, down and right. So for this particular one, we can have several points. And if you go up, just make sure you go the opposite way. More than enough points. Connect those lines. And my y equals negative x plus 2. Next one. Oh, Jesus, the same type one. Y equals negative x minus 1. Again, we're going to write this, I will rewrite it as this. Okay. And then I'll pull the slope out. And that's rise or run. But the only difference with this one is that the y-intercept is -1, so it's going to cross here. So again, up and down, the up and down is 1, and then left to right is 1 unit. So if we go down, we have to go to the right. Down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. If you go up, it's going to be opposite, up, and then towards the left, up towards the left, and that's enough. Connect it, put an arrow on each side, and that's y equals negative x minus 1. Okay. The last are a little bit tricky because we have to rewrite that, right? We want to rewrite that. So let's get rid of the 2x. I'm going to throw the x to 2x on the other side. So these two go away. I'm left with 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. And then, again, I have to isolate the y, so I'm going to divide this by 3, which means I divide everybody by 3 on the other side. This goes away. I'm left with y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. Now that it's in the slope-intercept form, I can easily see that 3 is my y-intercept. So I'm gonna go 0, 1, 2, 3. I know that line is gonna cross the y-axis at 3. It's a negative slope, so it's gonna look something like this. And let me pull the slope out. It's going to be m equals -2/3. So this is my rise, and this is my run. Right? So -2/3. So we need a few more points. Right? Remember, you only need 2 points to connect the line. So let's get one more. So up and down movement is 2. So let's go down 1, 2, and then to the right or to the left. Well, it has to be to the right. 1, 2, 3. Right? Because this is a line that goes down. So when I connect these two, you know what? Let's put one more. So 2 down and 3 to the right. So I'm just going to put a little dot there. And that's my line. Y equals -2/3 x plus 3. And we have one more here. 26 5x plus 2y equals 6. We're going to do -5x on both sides. So we get 2y equals -5x plus 6. Now we divide everybody by 2. Y is isolated, or just by itself, in the format that we want. And that's going to just stay like that. And then +6 divided by 2 is +3. So the y-intercept is at 3. So it's going to cross the y-axis at 3. It's a negative slope, so my line looks like this. From left to right, it's going to go down. Let's find one more point. So if it's -5/2, so that's my rise, and then the run. So up and down is going to go 5, and then left and right is going to go 2. So let's do that. Let's go down because there's more room. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to the right 2. 1, 2. Okay. I know we're running out of space, but I'll just do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, and the other two will be right here. Connect this line, connect these dots. And this would be my y equals -5/2x plus 3. Yep. Yeah, that's it. Pretty simple.